Yo, welcome everyone to another episode of Welcome to the Tao Show. Today, we have a great guest. I love to say that all the time, but we have another fantastic guest. And on top of that, we 3 more episodes until the finale. And, like I said, I'm extremely excited to bring on the one and only, the biggest Belize YouTuber, a master at editing, a founding members of the Friends podcast, the person who has been down bad so many times, the amazing Evanito. How you doing today?
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for having me, Mr. Tao.
Oh yeah,
Is that your name? TauBitzer? How do you even say the last part of your name? I've never actually
Bitzer.
asked. It's Bitzer. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm not stupid.
Yeah, I usually just tell people just call me Tal. It's the easiest thing since sliced bread. Of
No, it does seem a lot easier, but hello. Thank you for having me here today.
course, thank you for coming on. So why don't we start off with the first question of just introducing yourself?
Yeah. Well, my name is Evan. I am, I guess, the biggest YouTuber from a small country called Belize. I just got pinged on my PC by my therapist, which is why I looked over there for a second. Um, and I guess also I stream and make videos about VTubers. Some people call me a VTubers newsman, even though I do not in any capacity make news about VTubers. And also, I used to do a lot of editing. I mean, I still do, but it's more so for me now. So
So
yeah, that's the gist.
where did the name Evanito come from?
Oh, that's actually very simple. I was in middle school, and my friends and I were like super obsessed with Dragon Ball, and
Mm-hmm.
so they're like, "Imagine if Evan and Vegito fused. Oh my gosh, it would be Evanito." And I thought it was cringe, and I was like, "Oh, I hate this so much." But then I still, however, stupidly enough, I still was like, "Okay, well, actually, though, like."
That's
Yeah,
a
that's
good.
kind of that's kind of cool. But like before, all my names on all of my social media were Evan User Scrooge,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember I was talking to one of my ex girlfriends at the time, and she was like, no one's gonna type that in. That's a long name, and they won't even know how to spell it. And I was like, you're right. And she was like, well, is there anything else that people have called you during your life? And I told her the story, and she was like, okay, Evanito, make the name Evanito.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to try to get Evanito with the O, and it was taken. And I was like, that's crazy. And she's like, all right, just put a zero at the end. And I was like, you're right. You're
You're
right.
right. You're
And
right.
so, yeah, I just kind of stuck with it. And now I'm Evanito.
I like to imagine the guy who stole the O in Avenida was one of the friends who came up with the idea.
I wish it was, but I do know who he is now because we talk often and he's pretty chill.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's super cool. So, yeah.
So you mentioned Dragon Ball. What is your
Mhm.
favorite thing that draws you into Dragon Ball?
I think in terms of Dragon Ball, I just like the fights. The fights are always cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily think that Dragon Ball has you know, a clear and robust story, but the fighting has always been
Mm-hmm.
really nice. I guess the only story part that I really liked in Dragon Ball is it's now no longer canon, I suppose, was when they first like met Broly. I believe
Mm-hmm.
it was on the first times that they meet Broly, and then they're on that planet back in the past, and Broly just drags freaking Gohan's face across a wall or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. That was cool to me.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, it's not canon anymore. Listen, anyone beating up kids will always make me happy. That's all I'm saying.
You
All I'm
know,
saying.
that's why Eren Yeager is one of the best protagonists of all time.
This is true,
Fuck them
actually.
kids.
Fuck them kids.
So what's your favorite fight in Dragon Ball?
Ooh, I guess now my favorite fight would probably be one of the more recent ones. In fact, actually, it might be the more recent Broly fight from
Okay.
the new movie, because I think the Broly was just super cool in that movie, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just all the angles they mix like 3D and 2D together,
Yeah.
and the camera was like going through things. It was just really good. Well done.
I have very fond memories of that movie. Just because
Yeah, it's a good movie.
I went to see it in theaters. One, it was a great movie.
Mm.
It was one of the first times like the audience reaction was like super hype for me because I
Yeah.
never like I think I went to Avenger Endgame the same year. I made a comment to my friend that the people in the Dragon Ball movie gave me more hype than the people in Avenger Endgame, and I saw it with the same people. Like
That's actually so funny.
when Vegeta goes Super Saiyan God for the first time in anime form, just hearing the
Yeah.
entire crowd go like, "Let's go!" Even though we see him go blue like 80 times.
Yeah, no, it was just such a hype feeling being in
Hmm.
that theater. The latest movie as well with Gohan and Piccolo was also really good. Now that I think
That was
about it,
shockingly good.
yeah, that one was it was written like a fan fiction, right?
Hmm.
It's like imagine everything you've ever wanted to happen in Dragon Ball in regards to Vegeta, sorry, in regards to Gohan,
Hmm.
and they just made it happen. And I
I
was like, okay, this is good.
I was very shocked that was a Piccolo focused movie, which is a
Yeah,
very ballsy play, but
it's
I
so
appreciate the
huge.
crowd out of it.
No, I mean, I think it's just a lot of people have always liked Piccolo over the
Hmm.
years, and so they're like, yeah, we can make this happen, and it was great. Piccolo being the main character was
Hmm.
fantastic.
Especially getting his redemption from the tournament arc, because that was the
Yes,
saddest thing
yes,
ever. Him getting
hmm,
eliminated just by like missing a punch.
yeah, true, dude, true.
I think one of my favorite fights of all time has always been Vegeta, Vegito, I mean, versus Boo. Just because I
Mm.
love like the cockiness of Vegito, and
Yeah,
seeing Gogeta versus Broly was also great. Just
hmm,
a lot of the fights in the new Dragon Ball Super Broly movie was fantastic. I don't think I have any gropes with any of them.
yeah. I don't have any grips at any of them either. I mean, like I said, story wise, maybe not the best, but like for the
Hmm.
most part, just seeing the characters interact and fight is
Hmm.
just cool.
I mean, that's the one thing I always mention. I don't go to watch Dragon Ball for the story. I go to watch there
Yeah,
because I would like to see people yell.
yeah, true, true, true.
So, what other anime are some of your favorites?
I really like Psychopaths. It's a show about, I guess, futuristic Japan
Hmm.
and how this AI can determine whether or not you will commit a crime, and if it determines that it thinks that you will commit a crime, you will get executed for it,
Hmm.
which is kind of weird, but also kind of cool. I so it's one of my favorite anime. And outside of that, there's One Piece.
Yeah. One Piece is always great, and Psychopaths, I'm glad you brought that up. That's one of my favorites of all time right now.
It's so good.
I mean, season 2 and season 3, I haven't watched all of season 3, but season
Mhm.
2 was really, really like underwhelming. It wasn't bad by
Yeah.
any means, but it just wasn't as good. The first season, though,
It
was just on
yeah,
a different level.
it's so underwhelming that they killed off a character in that season only to then bring that character back for every movie that they've had
Hmm.
since. So, all the movies are like before that season essentially because they realized, oh, yeah, that character was really cool. We should
Hmm.
we should probably like have not done
Yeah.
that.
You know, let's just ditch it, make him like a side character, but he comes back every season.
Yeah, so like I'm there's supposed to be a new movie coming out soon, so I'm
Hmm.
looking forward to that one as well.
I think Shogo Makishima is one of my favorite villains in all of anime.
He's so good. He's amazing.
I think I
The
brought it up.
man,
I brought it to Axel as well in one of the interviews. Just he's one of my favorites. I can't stop talking about him.
yeah, no, I mean he's a well-written character and his motivations make sense. He's
Hmm.
like, this is screwed up, right? Like we should do something about the screwed up thing. And I'm like, yes,
Hmm.
yes, you kind of should. So that's really cool.
So you speak of One Piece. What I want to get into a theory idea.
Mhm.
Okay. So what do you think at the end of the story the One Piece will be?
Ooh, I always thought that it might be the power of friendship, but the more I go about it and I watch the show, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's going to
Hmm.
be actually something. Maybe it won't be the goal that was talked about, but
Hmm.
I don't think it's the power of friendship anymore because there's there's the whole like poneglyph things which tell the history of the world that people don't want you to know and stuff like that, and it just all seems weirdly enough quite literally alien.
Hmm.
So it might be some super cool device or thing, but I don't think it's going to be the world's riches, and I also don't think it's going to be the power of friendship.
Hmm.
So yeah.
I know one thing I'm very happy about because Oda has come out about the power of friendship, and he's mentioned that that's not going to be it. It's going to be something physical at the end of the story, which
Mhm.
is always like something that a lot of people were scared of. That was going to be something like the power of friendship or just something like that, and not make it worthwhile. And when
Yeah,
I heard that that wasn't the case for what Oda had planned, I was super hyped.
yeah.
Um,
No, I'm so happy. because it could easily end up like Fairy Tale, where at
Mm-hmm.
the end of Fairy Tale, how does Natsu beat everyone?
The
Our
power
friendship.
friendship. Exactly.
So I'm not complaining about the power of friendship.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool.
I
Get
like
stuff
the
done.
I like the idea that like it could be like partially the friends they made along the way. Yeah, that's
Mm,
fun. But I saw a couple ideas. One of them
mm.
was a button that you press and destroys the entire red line. And I thought that would be very cool. And that's where the all blue comes in. Is through the destruction of the red line, which is very far-fetched, but it's a theory that could happen.
I don't think that Luffy would press that button. I'm gonna be real with you.
I think he would. I don't think he would, but I also think he would. He's the type of person that'll be like, "Ooh, a button, precious," without reading the context.
So I will say that, like, in terms of anime, we've seen every anime protagonist have their dark moments where they
Mhm.
do something that most people would consider is inherently bad. Luffy hasn't done that.
Mhm.
So it would be very interesting to have Luffy go through something traumatic and then force him to make a choice between something good
Mhm.
or bad. And I think that'd be kind of cool if that happened.
I don't know exactly what the end of the story will be. I think
Mm,
that's a neat idea. That's how the all blue comes to play is through the destruction of red line.
yeah.
Um, but it's very hard to see Luffy pressing the button. But I also, like I said, can see it happening. Like Luffy is the type of person that if he sees a colorful button, he might press it out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But I think he
Is
has
that a button?
he has a crew that will stop him, and that's why I said he
Mm,
probably won't, is because he will have a crew that would stop him. Like, hey, we don't know what this does.
yeah,
And
that,
then,
that, that kind of makes sense.
mhm. I will say if that is the end, I would not be shocked if Nico Robin's the one that presses it. She's the one.
True.
She's the ones that will read him like, this is how it should be. Press, and then that's the end of Marie's Raw too.
And then Luffy has to kill her.
I also seen a theory of like Luffy will kill Blackbeard at the end, and I'm not 100% about that.
I don't think he would. I think he would just try to be his friend and invite him to be a part of the crew.
I can see that. I can see
Mm,
that. I can't see him killing. And
yeah.
much as I think it would be poetic, but I just don't want to.
True, fair.
So in terms of like anime, who is your favorite character in One Piece?
Favorite character in One Piece, Sanji.
Sanji?
Hmm.
What brings you to like Sanji? I know Briggs loves him too.
He's just the Blackfoot Sanji. The man is a womanizer, which is probably not the best thing to say, but like he just is, and I think that's cool. Some people say that he's a crazy, disgusting pervert. I don't think that he is. Okay, Brook is the crazy, disgusting pervert. All right,
Yeah.
get mad at Brook, not Sanji. Sanji, at the very least, respects women. In fact, he gets mad at Brook when Brook does something perverted. Sanji just likes women a lot. Brook is weird with them.
Mm-hmm.
So, Sanji, he's a respectable guy, just down bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that reminds me of someone like you. I wanted to bring up a Twitter post
Oh,
from
God.
this February of 2023 where you mentioned something
Mhm.
on Twitter, and I had to bring it up a
Okay.
little bit, and that
I'm
is
scared.
looking for hot VTubers to simp for. I just want
Did
you
I
to
s-
kind of like,
Did I say that in February?
yeah, you said that in February.
Oh, shoot. That actually sounds like a banger tweet. I should tweet it again. Let me do it
It's a
right
banger tweet. I'm not gonna
now.
lie.
Looking for hot Okay. Well,
So how down bad are you for VTubers?
I think that VTubers are God's gift to humanity, and most of them are things that I hate. However, there are a few VTubers that I think cross the boundary and the line of something that I do hate into something that I actually enjoy. And it's very, very few. There's Cinder, there's people like Coconuts, there's people like Bao, and more importantly, there's people like Scarly Yonaguni. I just think that the medium of VTubers allows people to be expressive in ways that they otherwise might not. And those people in particular are people who I think always try to change the game for the better. And they're not just streamers on the internet who are playing video games. They're always trying to come up with something creative especially in the case of Scarlett, who has not only come up with a lot of really cool and creative ideas, she's gone on record and said that she has taken a lot of ideas from me, which I think is cool. So
I know myself personally, I want to always do something creative. I want to do something new, fresh. That isn't always the case. Like this podcast got inspired by John Loves Anime. It got inspired by people like you. My YouTube
John
content
inspired my podcast too, so like I don't understand, man. Listen, I stole the idea from him. I was like, all right.
I mean, I did too, so don't worry. John's like the precipice, and we're just over here like, yeah,
like John, that's a really good idea. I should do that too.
I should do that. I know for like YouTube and stuff, I do like a mixture between Giguk and Too Spooky. I like both their ways. Like I love Too Spooky's editing style as well as Giguk's like editing style. I kind of vibe with both of them and made my own style, mixing the two together. And for Twitch content, I want to do more creative ideas. I recently, I think it was last summer, I came across someone named Doug.
I love Doug.
He is great. And I want to do more creative ideas like he does, like do AI stuff, do tournaments that are just like AI decides this outcome of anime characters brawling each other. Like that sounds fun to me. I want to do stuff like that. Play like the new Spider-Man game. 'Cause I bought that recently. I want to do a Spider-Man playthrough where I can't touch the ground or something like that. Stuff like that. That just if I touch the ground, I have to restart the entire game. Or I'll probably only go until the first boss. Play Skyrim on 1 HP. Play the entirety of Skyrim on 1 HP. If I die,
seems very difficult. Oh my gosh.
It's like the main story though. Like the Alduin quest. But every time I die, I take like a punishment. Stuff like that. I want to do stuff like that.
Do you hate yourself?
Yes.
Because it sounds like you hate yourself.
I really just want to do challenging stuff. That's something I always admire about people is whenever they do something and makes it more challenging. That's why I love Pokemon Nuzlocke. That's why I love watching people do these things. I want to participate in doing them. I think my challenges have revolved around like Planet Coaster, Monopoly. I did a Monopoly game where I couldn't trade at all. I also did a Monopoly game where I had to complete a certain property before I keep on going. So
that's actually kind of fun. That sounds really fun.
So if by some chance I buy the red, I have to do all my power to get the red. Even if I land on Park Place, I have to decline that pretty much, leave it up to auction, and I'm over here like suffering because now I lost the best thing in the game. And I'm just over here crying. Yeah, I love doing stuff like that. That's always been one of the things I admired about doing. Like even when I was younger, like I would do stuff challenging. Like I played the WWE game when I was younger. With my brothers and made some challenging thing. Like they get all finishers, while I just start with 0. Or I'll play Madden or NBA with them and have them like have a 20-point lead, and I have to catch up. And, like it's always I have to like overcome something.
Yeah, no, you definitely sound like the type of creator that does want to like do stuff, but like add your own interesting spin and then make it fun to watch. These are all good ideas, by the way. I might steal some.
I mean, I will not be upset if you do. Like, I'll just have to put another spin to it.
Yeah.
So, what other like ideas have you come up with for YouTube and Twitch? Like, any fun ideas you want to go over a little bit?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I was in a weird slump recently where I was like, I haven't come up with anything cool or creative in a while. And then I was like, wait, that's crazy. Why am I saying that about myself? I literally spent the entirety of 2021 and 2022 come up with brand new creative ideas every day. Like that's like over 600 ideas. I am stupid for thinking I'm not creative. So I was like, all right. Maybe we just have to go back to the drawing board and just reuse some of them. Because I don't know, my challenge is to always come up with something new, which is stupid because I'm human and human beings don't function that way. So I don't really have anything new. I don't think. I mean, all of the stuff that I have right now is just iterations of stuff that I've done before, except for there's one cool idea that I have now where it was like, I want to look at really like screwed up Zillow house listings and just use Photoshop's new generative AI to fix them. That's it. That's the whole thing.
I mean, that's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is. My friend, she's assembled like some really screwed up looking houses. She sent me some of the pictures, and a lot of them are just like, why would anyone even want to buy this house or live there?
Mm-hmm.
And so we're gonna use Photoshop's AI to try to fix it.
That's
That
so.
could be good.
That's a fun idea. I might have to steal
Yeah.
it.
Fair enough.
Fair. So I want to go into a little bit of Twitch because we're talking about content, and I think one of the biggest things is always looking back on your previous self of what you used to do compared to now. When you look back on yourself, how do you feel about your past YouTube, Twitch self?
Ooh, I mean, there's definitely highs and lows to content, and I'm proud of how far I've gotten. I mean, my current goal is like, hey, can I make the 50,000 followers on Twitch? Who knows? We'll see. But when I look back at my past self, he definitely had a lot of creative spark in him that I wish I had now. Outside of that, he also just had more energy. But to be fair, back then, I would go live, and that's all I would do. I would just go live and every single day be like, all right, I guess we're gonna go to a car wash together. Chat.
Interesting.
It was such a weird time, but I understand like a lot of that was just fueled by the pandemic, and like you know, people were willing to watch me do anything, and I was like, that's crazy. Why are you guys here? Versus now where people are more selective with what they choose to watch, and I'm like, I understand that. I feel like you should have always been that way. So it's a battle of me wanting to go back to being able to do whatever I want versus me knowing what I know will work and doing that instead. And content's always hard like that, but you just have to do it, you know.
What does work for you? Is it just the just chatting streams?
Unfortunately, yeah, people prefer it when I'm just chatting. Which is both a compliment and an insult, because I'm a very good god gamer, but also like, you know, I guess people are like, yeah, just like hearing you talk, and I'm like, all right, but like sometimes I don't want to. If you want to hear me talk, I have like hundreds of videos you can watch, which is also a weird thing. I've created some like odd disconnect between my Twitch audience and my YouTube audience, where the YouTube audience, obviously they'll like the video, whatever I post, they'll watch. But the Twitch audience will never watch any of my YouTube videos ever. and I wish that there was more of a connection between the two. So yeah.
It's very hard to get that connection sometimes. 'Cause I know like a lot of people were recommending people to start up on TikTok, build an audience there, and then have them transferred over to Twitch or YouTube. And the hard thing about that is it's hard. 'Cause a lot of people go on TikTok or YouTube Shorts for the short form content. Like my YouTube Shorts had popped off more so than I ever thought they would have. That doesn't mean they're gonna stay around and watch my longer videos. 'Cause
no. There's I watched recently again a clip that I did with Lopi when she was on my show or whatever, and Lopi is almost at like 500,000 subscribers on YouTube right now, right? But she'll only average like 1,000 viewers a stream, and that's because she's like, yeah, people don't subscribe to me because they want to watch me live. They subscribe to me because they want to watch my YouTube Shorts. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Like it just doesn't transfer as well, but it is what it is.
I have noticed for my own self, I've been really lacking on stuff like content creation lately, because I've been very much so demotivated, more than I ever had in a while. And it isn't because of YouTube, it's actually just because of my real life. Like I mentioned before we went live, I developed a crush on someone, which is something I haven't done in years. And because of that, my mind has gotten into the point of constantly bringing me down, which I don't want. And when you constantly get brought down, so does your content, so does everything else, and you can't get motivated to do such things, such as content, which has happened to me immensely. Because I know like a lot of my content ideas that I have for YouTube Shorts were very, not unique, but very fun, very like original. Like I had one idea, one of my first YouTube Shorts was me going on stream. I had a highlight of me looking at my top 50 anime of all time. And I don't know if you heard of the anime, The Overly Cautious Hero, at all.
I have, yeah.
But I had that over Hunter x Hunter, and I die laughing on stream. And the entire time I'm laughing my ass off, and I posted on YouTube Shorts, and I got like 1,000 views right away. And I was just like, holy cow, this actually is something. Then I made one on Boa Hancock, me talking about why she's the best wife in anime, got another 1,000. And then I talked about who can beat Goku in anime, that got another like couple thousand. And then I made my banger video, which is how My Hero Academia needs to end. And it was just, a lot of these are just ideas.
130,000. I'm looking at it. Wow, yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, compared to like my content and how many views it got, like 130 is a lot bigger than most people could ever dream of, including me. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, holy cow, what the hell? And I got like so many comments on it, like talking about like how this is similar to separate endings, but a lot of the content I make is ideas I would love to do for a full video, but I couldn't. A lot of them got scrapped. And when I realized I could do YouTube Shorts, it was just like, I can do these videos that I've been really wanting to do. Because I was talking to, like, I think it was Jordan and Cyanide. I was in a call with them, and I thought I wanted to talk about an ending I had an idea for My Hero. I know it's not going to end this way, but I think it would be a very poetic way to end it. And that was with Deku dying. And a lot of people, when they heard me say that, was just like, oh, you just hate Deku, which is far from the truth. I actually am one of the people who don't hate him, but I also don't like him. He's like, I enjoy him. He's someone I will never hate.
Character.
He's like your very average character, and I enjoy it. I have no gripes against Deku at all. But in terms of how I ended it, I wanted him to, because I wanted my own twist to it. So it has been done many times where the main character has died, yes. My idea was he dies by saving everyone, like he always wanted. And that is something he would do. He would 100% risk it.
That is actually very poetic. Yeah, no, that'd be really cool. Instead of like All Might, where All Might just lost his powers.
Yeah.
Right?
And how I looked at it was just like, he can still be the #1 hero. He would just be the #1 hero of all time, saving everyone from this monstrosity. Like, I want to say it was like some monstrous level event. I came up with like an explosion, but it doesn't have to be that. It could be just some monstrous thing that he had to risk his own life to save everyone. And he died, but he becomes the #1 hero of all time. And that's my spin on it. And it was just like,
that'd be really cool.
It's never gonna happen. I don't want this come across as like, this will happen. It will never happen. But but it's a cool ending that I had in mind, and a lot of people are just like, well, this is your ending, you just hate Deku, or it's just like, it's very similar to Goku versus Cell, or the ending of Cell Saga, which is, yeah, of course, like, those are great endings.
It's a lot of people's canon ending, actually.
I mean, I also had someone talk about Miles Morales, like the video game, and I'm like, I don't remember how that ended.
The video game ending was really cool.
Another one.
I genuinely think that Deku dying would be a good way to go out, for sure. But like, I also kind of just want him to live, right?
Oh,
like,
I do too.
Like, I don't want him to be the #1 hero.
The way I look at it is, I want to feel for something, and I think if he lives, I'm still gonna feel like, oh hell yeah, I'm super happy he's made his dream, because I always love it when people accomplish his dreams. But having the idea of him like dying just brings tears to my eyes, because that would hurt immensely. I think that would be one of the saddest endings in anime, but also one of the best ones.
That's true. It would get someone like me to rewatch it, because I'd be like, Deku's dead, of course.
It would be a great ending. It's like Code Geass. For me, Code Geass has a great start and a phenomenal ending. The middle is very wishy-washy, but you don't remember that. A lot of people don't remember the middle. It's always the ending or the beginning, because they're both fantastic. My Hero could have the same way, and that's why I'm looking at it. It's just like, you would forget about the middle, you would forget about the season 5 opener, you would be like, I don't want to rewatch that shit, and realize why you don't want to rewatch it, but also realize why you wanted to.
No, this is fair. That does sound like a... Okay, you know what? I agree with your point there.
I mean, I bring up some solid points sometimes. Not all the time, but... So, trying going back to a little bit of... Cause I mentioned my own rough times, and we have all gone through roadblocks, and...
Unfortunately.
How many times have you been in a roadblock? Because you've been at this longer than I have.
Um, I don't think too often. I mean, I feel like
Mm-hmm.
I'm in one right now, but this is new to me. Yeah, I don't think I've ever been in one before.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so yeah, just the one time.
Just the one time?
Mm.
So what is, like, causing you to kind of have this roadblock?
It's a very weird disconnect for me, right? Because like I've been making content about VTubers for years now, and I'm like, all right, but like realistically, I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to keep doing that without being a VTuber, but I also just don't see any value in being a VTuber. So it's a very weird mix of the two. But then also on top of that, it's like when I look into becoming a VTuber, it's very time consuming and it's very, very insanely expensive. There are
Mm-hmm.
people out there who are paying $15,000 to be a
Yeah.
VTuber, which is like, why? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then, every single time I inquire about prices and stuff like that, even now, right? Like my girlfriend is an artist, but even then, she's not, gonna charge me or give me a discount. She's charging me the full price,
Mm-hmm.
and it is stupidly, insanely expensive. And I'm like, all right, well, I don't know if this is for me, right? Because like I feel like I can go live with like a $150 webcam, and I'll be fine. I can make videos that way and be
Mm-hmm.
perfectly okay. Versus like spending like 15 grand on a VTuber model and not really knowing what the outcome is going to be, right? Like I've always touted that like my entire setup right now maybe costs like $20,000, but like this is like over years of building it up,
Yeah.
right? My camera alone is like maybe like a $6,000 or $7,000 camera setup, but again, that's like over years of building that up. And I'm like, if I become a VTuber, I'm not going to be using the thing that I paid for it. Don't get me wrong, I've paid for this camera many times over, but like
Mm-hmm.
I'd still feel bad.
I know the way I always look at VTubing for my own self, because I know a lot of people have told me that I would match being a VTuber, and I've always thought about it. That's one thing I have thought about doing, but it is like a very big step that I'm just not willing to take just yet.
Yeah,
because it is very much so financially draining. It is very expensive.
it's very expensive.
I know what model I would go with. It's my one I use for the starting student screen, my short hair version of my character, because that's kind of what I look like in real life. But it isn't anything unique. It's not going to be something like a cat girl, but also that isn't super unique anymore.
No, it is not.
But at the end of the day, it's a lot of just try and conquer through all that. And if you want to do it, it's always, you want to always look at the circumstances that could have the outcomes calculated, all that, because a lot of it could not work out. You could have paid a lot of money for a VTuber model and your viewership doesn't change.
Yeah, no, there's always like stuff like happen. Even just if you're like a webcam streamer, like you can pay a lot of money for a camera and things won't change. Like you just really have to be smart about some things, and like it sucks.
I know my camera is not expensive. It's like $60 webcam. It's nothing like outrageous. It's nothing like extremely cheap, but it's like the price of a game. And I use it for many other things that isn't just streaming. I use it for meetings, stuff like that, because I have meetings in real life that I have to go to. And sometimes I can't go to them, so I have to do a Zoom call or something like that. Or sometimes I'll have meetings with clients sometimes where I have to kind of talk to them. I know another thing I'm going to real estate, which is going to be a lot more of webcam-esque, where I'm sitting in my room in my office talking to my clients, be like, okay, what type of house you want? Oh, you want this one? Let me see what I can find. Stuff like that.
Yeah. It's actually really lucrative, by the way. It's
it is
smart.
And if I go into real estate and it does start popping up, I might become a VTuber at that point, but that's later on. But I kind of want to dive off of content creation for a bit and go into more personal stuff for you.
Okay.
Because I know you went to Jamaica recently.
I did. I was there for a friend's wedding.
Oh, nice. How was it?
It was hot and uncomfortable and like a wedding.
Would you ever go to Jamaica again?
I definitely think I would want to. I think it would be more fun if I wasn't there for a wedding and
Mm-hmm.
also just there to actually enjoy my time with someone. Because like everything that I did while there, I did alone, and that wasn't really
Yeah.
fun. You know, like I remember I walked into like all the restaurants that were on the resort, and they'd be like, "How many?" And I'd be like, "Just me," you know. And
Mm-hmm.
then like every single time that like I would call for room service, they'd be like, "How many?" And I'd be like, "Just me."
Just.
And it felt wrong, right? It felt
Mm-hmm.
absolutely wrong to just be experiencing such luxury by myself. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I guess I could have gotten to know the bridesmaids and stuff like that, but that felt wrong for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
So I just didn't, and I
Mm-hmm.
was like, cool, I'll do everything by myself except for one night where I went drinking with the bridesmaids, and that was fun. But even then, I was like, I want to do this.
Yeah, and myself, I traveling to a different country is very tough by yourself.
Mm,
I'm someone who could probably do it and not feel weird.
yeah.
Because I do enjoy, like, I went to Canada last year for Anime North. And I
Mm,
hung out with Brids, I hung out with Rustage.
mm,
I met Onigiri, Girl DM, and
yeah.
that was all cool. But that Sunday, I was by myself the entire day, and that felt so nice. Just walk around the convention, going out to eat by myself, just constantly. I didn't have to worry about starting a conversation. I didn't have to worry about putting myself in weird situations. I can just be myself, watch some YouTube, and then go back to my room, watch some anime. And then I went to Niagara Falls the next day by myself, and that felt so renovating.
See,
But
I don't think I could do stuff like that.
I wouldn't be able
because
to
like
do. I wouldn't be able to go to like Japan by myself. I plan on going to Japan,
that's fair.
but I
Mm,
want to do it with if I have a girlfriend at the time or a friend.
mm,
I want to go with someone to Japan, but like sometimes when I just travel, I don't need to go with people. I like road trips by myself, which is super weird, but I just love listening to music and just riding along, seeing the nice views of like when I went to DC for Otakon that one year. I
mm.
drove all the way there. I didn't fly, which I live in Michigan, which is
Yeah,
that was like a 13 15 hour drive of me just driving. But
it's a fun drive, I'd imagine though.
it was a great drive. Pennsylvania was my favorite state to drive through because it was there was like a lot of like on the road I took there was like if you took a one wrong turn you go off a cliff. But like it was so beautiful and I was just like I have to save my eyes on the road, but god damn it, the left is so beautiful.
Yeah.
It was a very nice drive. And it's always something I appreciate. It's stuff like that. So do you plan on going to any conventions this year at all?
It's funny you mentioned that. My badge for Anime Expo is literally right here.
Let's
And
go.
I am not going.
Really?
I don't feel like going. Like genuinely speaking, I just decided because I'm 30 years old now, and
Hmm.
I've gone to so many anime expos. I've gone to 10 or 11 of them, and
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen and done everything that I could ever do at Anime Expo. And so now I've reached the point where I'm like, all right, well, what else can I do, right? And also Anime Expo is just very expensive in general. So I was like, maybe just not go this year. Plus, like the people that I usually would go to Anime Expo to see, I literally see at other conventions. Like I was mentioning to my friends, I saw all the VTubers at WeebCon, which was like a month ago. And I'm
Hmm.
seeing all of them again next week at Offkai. Not
Hmm.
only that, they're all going to go to Anime Expo again a week later. And I'm like, I don't feel the need to see them, 2 weeks in a row. But then also, they're all going to TwitchCon. And so I'm like, I really don't care to see these people multiple times a year, you know?
I.
And it's not that I hate them. It's just,
Hmm.
like we're all content creators. We have shit to do. We all have our own personal lives.
Hmm.
We are friends to a certain degree and point, but it's not to the point where I actively always want to be around them,
Hmm. I
So,
understand that a lot. I know. I have. I would consider there's a couple people in the content creation sphere that I would consider a best friend.
mhm.
But even them, I wouldn't want to go hang out with them every week. Like maybe not even like
Exactly.
once a month. It would be like I would love to like go hang out with you this year at some point. But
Yeah.
I'm in Michigan and I really don't feel like driving to like Washington or Texas or Massachusetts or what was the other, Oklahoma. Iowa's a little bit easier, but at the end of the day, it's a lot more of just not wanting to go and stuff like that. I came very close to deciding to go to Anime Expo this year.
Yeah, it's a good convention. It's just that like it's so overwhelming for people now, and like there's just always so much going on, which isn't a bad thing. But I recognized that last year when I went to Anime Expo, I didn't do any of the events at the convention. Like 100% of the time, well, not 100, but like I guess more like 98% of the time, I was outside of the convention center, maybe in a friend's hotel room or at a party. And it was like, why do I keep going to this convention if I'm not even going inside?
I would not. I've never been a big fan of the convention. I've been to 2. My memories are not from the convention itself. It's from the outside perspective. Of like hanging out with Brits at like his house. We went to to Brits' house to play poker, and Rusty turned into a D&D session. Like that memory will always stick with me because that was a fun time. Going to get sushi with Brits and Rustage and Brits' friends, like those memories will stick with me. Or hanging out with you outside the convention at Otakon was fun, and that would always stick with me. Just those type of stuff will stick with me, but not the convention itself. The convention usually brings a lot more headaches to me, because ever since I got a concussion in 10th grade, I get pretty frequent headaches.
You what?
I had a concussion in 10th grade, but there's a point to that. I get headache quite frequently, and going to these conventions brings up those headaches a lot more. Because now I have anxiety to worry about, as well as a throbbing head that's going off because there's so many people talking. And it just only gets worse. And that's something that I always happen. And Otakon was the worst. I don't have a lot of fun memories from Otakon, as much as I wish I did. I know a lot of people like I look in the community like Love, Dami, even Soul. They talk so fondly about like, oh, I miss it, I want to go back. And here's me, I don't want to go back.
What, you weren't there when everyone was making out with each other? Like, you weren't part of that?
No. That I was never a part of. I probably wouldn't even be a part of it. I wouldn't have been a part of it either. I probably would have left. But the issue I had was my anxiety went off the rails. The final night I was there, they did a live stream over at the Airbnb, and I was there. Cal was invited. I was like, I'm gonna try and go over there, and I had a full-blown panic attack. And I'm very thankful for several people, and I'll name them real quick: Kiwi Pop Tart, Simply Amanda, Soul Slayer, and Diet Weeb. If they did not come outside, I would have probably gotten in a car accident, because I was not in the right headspace.
No.
Because I had a full-blown panic attack that destroyed me. I broke down in tears because I couldn't take a lot of the amount of love I was getting. I couldn't take any of that. And that's why I don't have fond memories from it, because I almost left and got into a serious issue, but because I had friends who was just like, stop it. I think one of them threw my keys, which is like the funniest thing looking back on it, but that's something I needed, and they had me sat down, and I just sat there. Nothing they did, it was just the amount of people who I felt cared about me. I didn't have that in a long while. This is during the time where I felt alone. My trust for people was out the window. I had none. Because I've been betrayed so many times in my past that I don't want to be betrayed. I never felt that compassion from others, except my family. My family's the only people I felt love from, because some of the friends I had in high school, I never felt like they actually cared. And then when I first had that, it shocked me, and that's what brought on that anxiety.
That makes sense now. It's trauma.
Yeah. and I will always be thankful for them. And like some of your streams I've been into, I don't think anyone knows sometimes how much they mean to me. I've been into your streams, and I'm not gonna say which day it was, but there was one day that I had a really rough day, and I went to your stream, and you completely made my day better, because you are a very funny guy that I love to talk to, and I really do appreciate everything you do. Sorry,
Right.
I'm trying to tape
that
the...
actually makes me feel better.
But there's so many people I would love to hang out with, and you are one of them. You are by far one of the most kind human beings on this planet. You are a friend that will always be by your friend's side, no matter how rough it gets. And I may not have seen that on my end, because it isn't like we talk all the time. But even when we do, and you do notice something, you do help. Even if you don't notice stuff, but I've noticed it with, like, not to bring up any like issue with like nuts, like seeing how much of a friend you were to him is so heartwarming to see. You deserve the best, my man. You really do.
I mean, he's done a lot for me, so like, I mean, obviously I try to make sure that, like, you know, he's okay and everybody is okay in general. So yeah,
I mean, either way, you're a fantastic human being. I wish nothing but the best for you in your future. I really do.
Well, thank you, appreciate that.
I'm gonna wrap up this interview with one last question. That's just talking about your future, because I know you're in a roadblock right now, but do you have any ideas of what you want to do for your future of this year?
Well, okay, so I do want to host at least one more big show like I did earlier this year with like the spelling with friends. I want to do one more like that. I mean, I'm happy that we got like our convention appearance next week, which is something that I was working towards since last year, and I'm finally glad that it got to happen. But I want to do something else outside of those, and I don't know what yet, but I hope that it's good. I also hope before the end of this month I do something even bigger, and you know what, I'm willing to tease it on your show. But it's not, you know, perfectly set in stone, but there is a possibility that I can get to do a fun stream with a member of Niji Sanji before the month ends.
Oh, let's go.
So, and I've been working at this for a year now, so I hope that it actually does go through. And yeah, we're just trying to finalize everything, and if it happens, oh my god, I'll feel so happy, because a lot of people just didn't believe that I could do it, and I'm like, trust me, I will fucking do everything that I can. So I'm kind of excited, but again, nothing is set in stone, so yeah.
I mean, I wish nothing but the best for you in that.
Thank you.
What appearance are you gonna be making on was it the Friends podcast?
Yeah, Friends and I are going to Off-Kai next week, and our panel is on Friday.
Let's go. I wish I could be there, but I got work.
That makes sense.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm gonna take questions from chat for another 5 minutes, and then we'll wrap up this stream completely. And since this is the end of my portion, thanks so much for coming on, man.
And I hope. Dude, thank you for inviting me, even though it took like 2 months.
Dude, I have no problem waiting. Like, you are fantastic. Like, even just responding just means a lot, man.
Yeah, I'm not the best at responding, but I try. I do try.
But yeah, thank you so much, and we'll get on to the questions from the chat. All right, we had one earlier, and it's from Nordic Brute, talking about would you ever participate in D&D if it was based on an anime of your liking?
So fun fact, One Piece D&D was originally supposed to have me in it, because I was the first person that Rustage ever told the idea to. And then he started it without me.
Oh.
And I was very confused and shocked. I was like, why did you not just tell me that you wanted to move forward with other people? You know, we're still cool, we're still friends, but I just wish it was something that he had talked to me about at the time, because he initially brought the idea up to me. He's like, I'd love to have you, Evan. But then when it came down to it in the end, he was like, okay, well, these other people have more clout. And I was like, Okay. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an understandable thing.
Yeah, that does
So
suck.
I would have loved to be a part of One Piece D&D, but that's over now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't think that there's any other anime D&D that I would actually be interested in.
Really?
Yeah,
It-
I don't.
If someone made a Psychopath D&D, would you be interested in that?
No, because it'd be too difficult. I'd have to be a good person all the time, and I don't want to be good.
I mean, you don't have to be. They can make it around like you being a criminal or something.
Oh, fair enough. Fair, actually.
Because I mean, in the show, like they have those criminal as cops, which I think I would do if I were to do a D&D session around Psychopaths. It would be like the group is, the criminals who come in on the bus. The 4 people would be the criminals, and then me as like the main NPC would be like Pearl is for One Piece DD would be the main cop who isn't part of the criminal stuff. And I think that could be cool.
Okay.
Or you can have like one of the people who designate as the leader of the group could be the person who's just a regular cop. But we got a question from Soul. What do you miss about Twitch from the past?
I mean, I don't think many things have changed, right? They have like these policy changes, but for the most part, everything is practically the same. I guess if there's one thing that I do miss, that would probably just be the smaller sense of community. Because when I got into streaming, there were way less streamers out there, right? And I will admit that since the leaks happened, it was like after the leaks that so many more people got into streaming. Rightfully so. They saw how much money everybody was making, including me. And then, you know, I get that, but back then it was like a lot smaller, a lot more tight knit. I felt like I knew everyone who was streaming, versus now where there are just so many people and I don't feel like I know most of them. Like when I look at my recommended channels right now, there's like a streamer that's streaming and, you know, she has like 300 viewers and I've never seen or heard of her a day in my life. And, you know, back then it's like when I saw these things, I was like, oh yeah, I've seen this streamer, I've heard of them. So it's just strange. Yeah.
I know I started streaming in 2020, I think it was. I remember I was in college when I started streaming, and I haven't really put full time into it because it's never been something that like I can see myself doing as a job, but I love doing it as a hobby. Like having fun, such as doing the little fun ideas I have, like the Spider-Man idea or the Skyrim idea. Like those are the ideas I want to constantly be doing, and not just be constantly stressed about making money and all that. Because at the end of the day, like I've been plenty of money in my day-to-day job. Like I'm fine where I'm at right now, and when I get into my other full-time job, I'm making more money there. So Twitch and YouTube, like I guess it would be nice to have this as a job, but also I prefer just having it as a hobby because I don't have to stress about constantly bringing myself down about, oh, I don't have enough viewers over here, which could bring down my mood completely. I want to just look at YouTube and be like, oh my gosh, I got this many subscribers. Hell yeah. Like it's not a lot, but like 555, which is a great number, by the way, 3 5s. That's what I want to see. It's just fun. I want to keep on having fun and not be brought down by having it as a full-time job.
Yeah. No, when you start thinking of content creation as a job, it definitely stresses you out a lot more. And actually, yeah, if I think about it, that's one of the things that I wish I could go back to, because in 2020 and 2021, I didn't think of it as a job, which is stupid because I made insane amounts of money. but I didn't. It was the most amount of money I've ever seen or made in my life, and I didn't really consider it a job until after, and I was like, you know what, maybe I should consider this a job.
I know from Twitch I made enough to pay off my PC, which is, I'm not gonna disclose how much that was, because it's not a lot. My PC isn't the most expensive, but like I made enough to pay it off, and it's just like, I mean, I guess it's worth it, but god damn it, I enjoy playing Apex with friends. I enjoy playing Fortnite with a bunch of people now. I think I got into playing with True a bunch more, just over Fortnite. Something simple. I get to hang out with people. Which, by the way, we need to play Fortnite at some point, man.
Listen, I'm kind of cracked at Fortnite, dude.
I believe it.
All right.
I suck at Fortnite, so I need someone to carry me. So if I have you and Trura, I'm unstoppable. Yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap up there. I think I got all the questions. Also, shout out to Dakota Broski. Yeah, I haven't read everything he said, but I do know he quit, right? Content creation. Well, he's done with it.
Yeah, he's just focusing on his real life. He has a family. He has like a girlfriend and kids. So yeah,
Understandable. I wish nothing but the best for that man. He's a great human being.
No, dude. I look at him sometimes and I'm jealous because I'm like, yeah, I'm doing content as a full-time job, which is what a lot of people might want, but also he has a very loving and good family, and he seems very happy. He smiles more than me.
Every time I saw a picture of him and his girlfriend, it made me smile.
They're so happy together. It's fantastic.
I love it when people are like that happy. Like my friends are getting married like left and right now, which it's so crazy to me that I'm 22 and a bunch of my friends are getting married already. I'm like, what the fuck? Where's time gone already?
Yeah,
I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Thank you once again, Evan, for making time out of your day to hang out with us.
Thank you for having me. Actually, thank you for inviting me and putting up with the fact that you had to wait months.
So, like I do with all my guests, big or small, who do you want me to raid?
Ooh, good question. Who's on right now? Actually, let us raid. Oh, I do have someone. I will DM you their name right now. Oh, they just went offline. Okay.
Oh shit.
Okay. You know what you mentioned earlier? Girl DM.
Okay.
Maybe. Actually, wait, hold on. No, I have someone else. I just thought of someone else. This person. Boom. Here we go. Lilybell. I love Lilybell. There you go.
Lilybell. Let me pull up this stream real quick. Playing Destiny 2, right? Alrighty. Let's go give Lilybell all the great love we can. She's doing a fun-a-thon. I think that's why I saw.
Yeah.
She's on.
She's
day
been live
29.
for a month. What the fuck?
Jesus. Yeah, give her all the love, man. They deserve it. Fantastic individual.